Welcome to Free Practice 1, the first World SBK session around this circuit. Steve English alongside me, and as usual for a Friday morning, we'll catch you up with all of the news in the paddock between rounds and preview this weekend's action as well, maybe with a little extra emphasis on two riders in particular. The fifth staging of the Pirelli Indonesian round, the first since 1997, and it's also the final weekend of the 2021 campaign. But Steve, today's sessions in themselves will also be fascinating. A totally new track for everyone, a blank slate, no data to call upon. Friday then becomes even more important than usual for riders and teams.
Yeah, nobody knows what to expect over the course of this weekend. There could be some torrential rain has been in the area in recent weeks as well, and that could spring a bit of a surprise over the course of the weekend. But really for everyone, this is a step into the unknown. This is where you'll spend this practice session learning the track, getting to make sure your base settings work correctly, get your gearing right, and then build on that all the way through the weekend.
First visit to the picturesque island of Lombok. What a stunning place to end our 2021 season.
Yeah, just those shots as we started the broadcast just shows just how amazing it is around here, and really is very different to anywhere we've been in World SBK that I can remember. And certainly the track looks really good. Speaking to riders, they're all excited about the prospect of racing here. It looks like it's going to be a fast track, similar lap speeds probably to somewhere like Qatar. So the riders say that they're really looking forward to getting up to speed around this place.
Yes, one of the rare circuit maps or circuit GPS maps that has a vision of the beach and the sea right on the circuit map, turn 10 in particular, practically touching the sea here.
Yeah, a bit like Phillip Island in that way, and hopefully we get the racing that we get in Phillip Island as well. But I think this weekend in Indonesia, it's going to be all about trying to see if you're able to get the right feeling right from the outset. Speaking to the riders after they did their track walk yesterday, pretty much to a man they all said the track looks in great condition, the asphalt looks good, and they're just excited to get out there.
As I mentioned in the circuit presentation, as far as track characteristics are concerned, no massively long straights, just that run down towards turn 1, the most notable.
Yeah, not too many long straights, but a lot of fast sections around here. The opening sector of the lap looks like it's going to really open up into one corner into the next. We will have some overtaking opportunities around this place, but what's going to be interesting is to see which bikes work well in different sectors, because that final sector in particular, the first time we go around, you're going to see just how tight those final couple of corners are. Ever decreasing radius right-hander into turn 15 and 16. That's going to be a real opportunity to make some moves. It's also going to be key to see whether the likes of the Kawasaki is going to be actually quite good through there. We saw earlier in the season Jonathan Rea really struggled whenever he was trying to brake on an angle. He's going to have to do that into that final sector.
A slight change to the schedule here this morning, and it's seen as slightly delayed with the Asia Talent Cup support class this morning delayed somewhat. So we're a little bit later than would have originally been planned. We'll be back on schedule, as it were, over the course of this afternoon. But two classes already taking to the track this morning, so a little bit of rubber down at very least.
Yeah, we saw in the Super Sport class pretty quick times right from the outside. It was Manuel Gonzalez leading the way in that, and it was actually quite close as well. A lot of riders able to get themselves up to speed quite quickly, as you'd expect. Fast riders all there in the Super Sport class getting the fast times at the end of the session. You'd expect to see something similar in Superbike. You don't really expect to see a massive change up in the order, but what could happen is a couple of the manufacturers might be up to speed a little bit quicker than others.
Yes, second weekend of on-track action at this venue, but the first for racing. There was a free practice and qualifying for the Asia Talent Cup that took place just a week ago. So as you can see along the bottom of your screen, it's hashtag World SBK Finale in 2021 this weekend at the Indonesian round, and every reason to rub our hands together. 30 points is the deficit for Jonathan Rea to try and make up. Nobody's made up a margin like that at a final round before in the history of the Superbike World Championship, nor have they had 3 races at the final round in which to do it historically.
Yeah, and I think what's going to be key is to see what happens in tomorrow's opening race of the weekend, because that's going to set the tone. Obviously for Jonathan Rea, 30 points is a big margin to make up. He needs a little bit of misfortune for Toprak. He needs to put him under pressure as well.
Yes, you can see when we go behind the scenes there's still workmen still chipping away at those final touches just to get everything ready before we get underway this weekend. But everything that you can see, as it were, the pit boxes, the circuit, all looks in pristine, brand new condition.
Yeah, they've done a really good job to get everything completed in time. And I think speaking to a lot of the mechanics and the engineers down in the pit boxes, they've all said that they're really impressed by the finish that they've had down there as well. So it is a last-minute job to get it ready, but it looks like it's all ready on time.
Yes, and a spectacular scenery, as we've been saying, as far as a World Championship finale is concerned. We head towards the pit box then of Toprak Razgatlioglu, our current championship leader, and the man who at this stage, Steve, you'd have to say is champion-elect. One hand at very least on this trophy. Yeah,
Toprak's got that advantage. 30 points is a sizable lead to take into the final round. What's going to give him a lot more confidence as well, as though he hasn't made a mistake all year. Any of the retirements he's had, they've been for mechanical issues or the crash with Garrett Gerloff and Assen. It hasn't been Toprak putting the foot wrong. He'll want to make sure he keeps that consistency.
And consistency is the key, because most notably, the sheer volume of podium finishes that he has had this season. Now, Jonathan Rea, the same tally as far as podiums are concerned, but actually what Jonathan Rea does, in a sense, is irrelevant to Toprak this weekend. If he banks 3 podiums, he's world champion.
Yeah, exactly. Toprak's going to be focused on himself. And speaking to Phil Marin, his crew chief, earlier in the week, Phil said, we're going to go into Saturday. It's not going to be a case of Toprak racing within himself. He's going to go out there, try and win that race. And then maybe on Sunday, that's whenever the team will have to then try and rein him in, making sure he focuses up on just getting across the line.
This man, Scott Redding, has also got a part to play as far as this World Championship showdown is concerned. At 66 points back from Toprak Razgatlioglu, he's out of mathematical contention for the title himself. But he could be the man who gets in between the top 2. Now, often those have been the 3 riders up at the head of the field, and that could go both ways. Jonathan Rea has a lot of points to make up, so he could do with Toprak being relegated behind Redding. But if the reverse is true and Jonathan Rea finishes 3rd behind Toprak Razgatlioglu, game over.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things, that Scott can be that spoiler through the course this weekend. We've seen it all the way through this season, how strong Ducati can be, how effective Scott Redding can be as well. What's going to be interesting for Redding is it's a level playing field here. We've seen it at different times this year. When we went to Moster, Navarra, they were tracks where he was really strong, and they were tracks that were brand new for everyone as well.
Conventional wisdom over the last 3 seasons has been that it's generally been KRT who've been the riders with the experience, the team with the experience. So they've been the ones who've hit the ground running, as it were, at circuits that they've visited before. You only need to look back at Assen as being the perfect example of that. Jonathan Rea was never troubled at the Dutch round. So this weekend throws up something very different.
Yeah, this is going to be something completely different, and this is where having an adaptable bike really comes into its own. What bike's been the most adaptable all the way through the season? It's been the Yamaha. We've seen it all the way through this year, where different Yamaha riders have been really strong at different points, whether you're looking at Toprak all the way through the season or you're looking at Andrea Locatelli or Garrett Gerloff at different points. Then that really has been the bike to be on if you're just looking for something that works in a very big operating window.
Inevitably, the final round of any season is always a time for goodbyes. It's going to be an emotional weekend for this man, Chaz Davies, who bows out of World SBK at the end of 2021 and at the end of an illustrious career, one of World SBK's top 10 all-time greatest riders. I don't think there's too much doubt about that. Chaz Davies not alone in making what is a likely departure from the World SBK paddock. A couple of other riders not confirmed for retirement as such, but the likes of Leon Haslam, who you can see making his way down pit lane, likely to be moving on from the paddock at very least next season.
Yeah, for Chaz, obviously he came out a little bit early to Indonesia as well, so he's making the most of this week, a few days surfing. And for Leon Haslam, it looks like it's going to be the end of his time as a full-time rider in World SBK, but it looks almost certainly he's going to be racing next year, probably in BSB and in the Endurance World Championship. So we might see him in as a wild card again at some point in the future, but certainly this looks like the end of his full-time time in World SBK.
Yes, and a similar situation for Tom Sykes as well. His ride not confirmed. As far as 2022 is concerned, there's been a lot of speculation linking him with a move back to BSB as well, and a few words about a potential move over to Moto America, for example, for Tom Sykes. But as far as World SBK retirement, that's Chaz Davies who made that announcement in a press conference just a couple of
Mark. And for Toprak, just rolling in a little bit deep, that's down into turn 10, one of the slower corners of the track, and just exploring the track limits there. But certainly there's going to be a lot of riders running off at different points during the course of the action in this 45-minute session. It is going to be trying to get yourself up to speed.
Yes, both late breakers, but even for them that was a little unusual, just making the best use of the runoff area. That's what it's there for, isn't it?
That's it, exactly, and especially on your siding laps as well. You want to be able to make sure you're able to just get as much information as possible, and certainly for Toprak and Van der Mark, it's going to be important for them. This is a big weekend for both of those riders. Michael's got Indonesian heritage, always keen to get back here, and he's excited to race here in front of the Indonesian fans. And then obviously for Toprak, he wants to make sure he's able to just be fast all the way through this weekend, build himself up, and get himself ready for potential title decider.
Scott Redding with Ducati, he'll be moving.
Chance of winning with that BMW package, a lot smaller than they are with the Ducati, so he wants to make sure that he's able to pad out his wins tally in World SBK this week.
Oh, it must be said.
Oh yeah, everyone's just going to be taking it nice and steady at this stage, build themselves up. We saw in the Super Sport class a 1:38 was the
first session. Alex Lowe's second fastest, so a good job on return from surgery and from injury for the number 22 KRT man. Garrett Gerloff third fastest in the end with a late lap for him. Scott Redding fourth. We did see Ducatis up in the three of them in the top 5 positions in the mid stages of that FP1, so we know they've got some pace. Redding fourth in the end. Isaac Vinales again appearing up towards the top of the timesheet. It's not the first time he's done that on a Friday, so he'll be satisfied with his start. Bautista, Bassani, Van der Mark, Rinaldi and Locatelli round out your